Space, the final frontier. A genre of many games but where only a few excel and become true classics. And today, an older classic has returned with a sequel, and it still very much checks out. This is Sins of a Solar Empire 2, a brand new space strategy game that doesn't just let you manage an ever-expanding empire, but take part in massive, beautiful battles. And what's doubly interesting is how this game actually plays, because the devs have put a ton of effort into creating a balanced experience between manual control, good UI overviews, and automation. And thanks to Stardock for sponsoring this video, I'm able to show you what Sins of a Solar Empire 2 is all about. If you don't know what Sins of a Solar Empire 2 is, or if you need a refresher, let me put it simply. This is what I'd like to call something of a strategy RTS, which might sound weird because that means I'm saying strategy, real-time strategy, but hear me out. And let's deal with the strategy first. Sins of a Solar Empire 2 is all about expanding your space empire's borders and assuming control of the galaxy planet by planet. This of course means managing resources and building a fleet that can sustain such a creation. But what I found so unique about Sins is that it combines that grander sense of a galaxy and management, research and buildings with a more RTS-like gameplay loop and pace. You see, everyone begins with one planet each, and the simple basic infrastructure to build your first ships and get going. You'll notice that you know very little of the galaxy beyond your immediate vicinity. In fact, depending on your chosen galaxy size, you might not know much at all. That's what these scout ships are for, of course, and you will see that they are on their way out of your system as soon as the game begins. Space isn't just wide open though, contrary to what you might be thinking. In fact, each planet is connected to other planets through space lanes, and each lane travels to just one other system every time. This means that connecting your empire in smart ways is crucial, which becomes evident when you realize that ships can only travel in one direction every time they jump, and they can only turn back once they're out of the lane. And this is where that RTS part of this game reveals itself, because instead of being a slow and unwieldy thing, Sins of a Solar Empire 2 is actually a rather fast-paced and action-filled experience. You see, what you want to do right from the get-go is build yourself a little fleet of fighter ships and one destroyer-class battleship, preferably the one with a colony ship integration, and then send them all to the nearest star system with a colonizable planet. Since colonizing does demand that you have the right technology for inhabiting planets of various kinds, you must ensure that you research the relevant technology first in the research tree. So I would suggest quite early going for the volcanic or Arctic planet colonizing techs. Some of my absolute favorite things about Sins of a Solar Empire 2 are the all-new visuals and animations, and one of these happen every time we jump to lightspeed between systems. You see, each ship individually open up their own warpath along the same space lane, then in full real time, travel through them on their own at breakneck speeds, and then enter the next system, where the new planets and asteroids and possible foreign ships quickly come into view. It's one of the most immersive ways of portraying lightspeed travel in a strategy game I've ever seen, and now I think you understand why. Entering a new system like this will almost guarantee that you encounter foreign entities, and in the first instance, it's most likely going to be non-factional ships, essentially pirates. These will have to be defeated in order to create peace in the system, but you can, if the planet isn't occupied already, technically send your ship in for direct colonization. However, this is also where Sins to a degree allows you to take your hands off the wheel. You see, for these strategic aspects, it's important that you maneuver where your ships go on the star map, meaning that you send them between systems to aid in a defensive effort or to go on the offense. But on the system level, your ships will perform their own maneuvers and attacks. This means that you never need to micro your own ships if you don't want to or wish them to change the targets or actions, and that's actually a very freeing thing. Having your fleet make its own decisions in the individual battles allows you to either simply enjoy the sights and take in the gorgeous spectacle that these battles become, or completely free yourself from the system in question and take care of other things elsewhere, like tending to a planet development, diplomatic actions, research, trading, or whatever else strikes your fancy at that moment. At its core though, I find that Sins of a Solar Empire 2 somehow manages to strike that balance between a grand-scale strategy experience and that smaller, faster scale of a classic RTS, and I think it's because of the relatively rapid expansion in the early game. Because like an RTS, your job is to get your resources up and going, to quickly move out and carve out your own part of the galaxy before others do, while leaving some of those deeper grand strategy mechanics out of it. Because yeah, compared to say Stellaris, you're not going to be managing your colonization policies or choose your specific government in real time here, and there are no events related to finding ancient civilizations or weird space anomaly, and you probably won't need dozens of hours to learn how to play. But what you do have here is still an RTS where strategy and that larger view of things is important to have. For example, resource collection and management lies at the heart of Sins of a Solar Empire 2. Essentially, everything you do is determined by the game's three main resources: credits, metals, and crystals. These are the resources you need to not just build basic ships, raise buildings on your planets or constructions out in space, but also to conduct research and get ahead in the technology space. Tech will allow you to do important things like colonizing new types of planets, build new ships to make a more holistic fleet, and modernize your empire in all kinds of ways. But since each new tech development demands that you spend resources, you have to be mindful on when you conduct research and when you spend those resources elsewhere. If you want to create more of those awesome capital ships though, you need more than just the base resources. You also need exotics, special crystals which can be found by surveying your planets. Each planet might offer you different kinds of exotics, but the rule is that you need one or more of several to build those massive ships, along with the regular resources and perhaps unlocking a tech or two. In order to accumulate resources faster, which will be the key to success throughout Sins, you must pay attention to the development of your planets, and you do so in multiple ways. First of all, you can access mostly everything you need to produce in a system from the planet's own menu simply by clicking on it. Here you can build new ships if you have the factories for it, you can build those factories, and you can raise either civilian or military constructions. Importantly for resources though, you may also raise your income volume and capacity by improving the planet's main development. You can only expand these so far though, since each planet has its own limit to how much it can be improved this way. Notice also that you can only build as many orbital structures as your capacity allows for in both the civilian and military areas, and that when you research the right tech, you may also raise planetary buildings in these special planet slots, which may aid you in several planetary and empire-specific ways. You may also increase your research gain by building trade stations and allocating your export points and slots to increase your gains in either sector, wherever you have available slots. But as much as research is important to be able to begin certain constructions, so are constructions vital to advance in your research. Including the resource need we talked about before, you need to have constructed a number of civilian or military research stations in order to advance through the different research tiers to feel those true benefits later on. Now, considering that each planet has their own limitations, slots, and must generally be managed on their own, you could think that this demands a ton of micro and time spending, and it certainly can if you want to. But luckily, Sins of a Solar Empire 2 includes a UI that is meant to allow for faster gameplay with quick overviews of your empire, which means that by clicking on the Colonize Planets tab, for example, you can build or expand whatever you want on any of your planets from wherever you are. This can save you a ton of time, and even though you might feel more comfortable in the beginning having everything available to you from the planet-specific window, or just when you want to dive down and enjoy the sights of course, having this integrated UI that allows for faster maneuvering and administration is extremely useful. This matters even more so when you play on larger galaxy maps, where your empire can suddenly consist of dozens of different points of interest that you should be managing to the best of your ability. The same goes for your capital ships and star bases, by the way, so if you ever need to quickly jump to either of your ships, upgrade them, or outfit them with new items and capabilities as you research new ones, it can all be done from this overview window, rather than by searching for and selecting each one in the game itself. But the fact that it's possible to do everything through both of these methods is fantastic, and I think a great strength of Sins is indeed the fact that it's focused so much on streamlining a process that truly can be streamlined, while allowing for a more traditional way of micromanaging if you so wish. Of course, sometimes you need that classic star map, because as we talked about before, space lanes and the great roads of space are vital to understand, because this is of course how you get to other places, and how other places, or empires rather, get to you. This means that it's important to know which planets take on the role of choke points or important defensive spots, and which can be considered less defensible or crucial in this aspect. In other words, this means that some systems can be used to focus more on defensive capabilities and stations, while others could be more research and civilian-heavy systems, all depending on where they are located on the space lane and who you might want to keep in or out. What happened in one of my games, for example, is that a powerful enemy AI conquered a system neighboring my core planet. Since this system additionally served as the connection between my empire and theirs, they decided to immediately outfit it with powerful defensive stations, which made it extremely hard for me to take it back and crack through their defenses. And because of the space lanes, this means that by wisely setting up a fortress, they could halt my advance in that direction. But there is another wild card here though, and that is wormholes, allowing you to travel from one end of the galaxy to another. Wormhole tech must be researched though before they can be used, and their connection to the other end of the hole is unknown before you use it. As such, they act as mid or late game wildcards that can get you out of a tight spot, or indeed put you in one if the enemy suddenly decide to show up just a system or two away from your core. Of course, even though most of an RTS can be boiled down to being about conquest, it's also possible to trade and conduct diplomacy with others. Declaring peace or indeed becoming allies is possible, or trading resources between your factions can help you in getting you to where you want to be. We have minor factions here as well, which by using influence points, you can gain valuable favor and bonuses to your relationship with them. It might take some time to learn, and I do recommend doing what you've done now, which is essentially watching a YouTube video detailing how the game works, or follow the game's own deep dive tutorial to truly get the most out of it. But at its heart, Sins of a Solar Empire 2 is an incredible blend of large-scale strategy and faster-paced RTS 4X gameplay that manages to innovate in both automation and efficient micromanaging, and that is rather rare to see. For how much I enjoy the Empire management, I adore these new visuals. I mean, when has space ever looked this good? The detailing on every ship, the lighting, the animations, it's all here. I am obsessed with it, and I'm really happy that Sins of a Solar Empire 2 essentially amounts to a new, grand, solid foundational upgrade of what the first game was, with an all-new coat of paint and new ways to manage your space empire. And I can't wait to see what the future holds, both in terms of official patches and grand new mods for this game. Let me know what you think of Sins of a Solar Empire 2 in the comments, if you ever played the first game, and remember to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. Thank you so much for watching, thanks again to Stardock for sponsoring this video, and I'll see you next time. Cheers!